Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It's Monday review time, and that means it's time to look back at the weekend draw, 1-1 with Sheff Wednesday at Hillsborough, where it's fair to say we may have upset a few of the natives on social media due to our apparent excessive time-wasting cheating. Particular favourites were, it took anything between 1 minute and 5 minutes to take a throw-in. We are the worst team ever to come to Hillsborough and grace their hallowed turf. And we are just a little fodder club in League One going absolutely nowhere. Yeah, apologies for that, Wednesday fans. Forgot we had to come up there and just roll over and let you beat us. Anyway, all jokes aside, very good performance from the Gills, so let's get stuck right into it. I thought first half, the Gills were really good. We came and set up in our familiar 4-4-2 diamond, didn't we? There was a couple of surprises in that lineup. The minor one being Ryan Jackson being fit enough to take his place at right back. Obviously, it was Jamie coming in goal. But yeah, we thought Jacko was going to miss out. It looked like a hamstring or a thigh problem he'd suffered against Cheltenham in the cup the week before, but apparently it was only a dead leg, so he was fit to play. We reverted to our early season centre-back pairing of Jack Tucker and Max Amar because they essentially were the only two fit to play that role. Bailey Akehurst, 18-year-old, made his league debut. What a place to start your league career at Hillsborough, one of the iconic stadiums historically in English football. And I thought he was very, very good on the whole. There was a few occasions where he got isolated up against their right wing-back, who was very, very good. And that's where they tried to exploit the space Wednesday, wasn't it? But the rest of the formation, the big surprise came. That was Daniel Phillips. He was in that midfield. He started off on the right-hand side of the diamond. Stuart O'Keefe was at the base. We had Danny Lloyd from the left, Carl Dempsey in the 10 in front of the front pairing of Verdane Oliver and John Akindi. And I thought we dealt with everything that they threw us really well. There was balls coming into our box. Max Amar, Jack Tucker were heading it away. If Jackson or Akehurst got on, then Stuart O'Keefe or Daniel Phillips were really clever in tucking in and making us solid and giving us a back four still. Danny Lloyd, tireless as ever. Carl Dempsey, industrious as ever, trying to get on the ball, trying to make things happen, even if it didn't all the time. And going forward, the front two really caused them a problem, didn't they? They were makeshift. They had Shay Dunkley, the only orthodox centre-back in that back three. And then it was a right-back and a winger converted to play as the outside centre-halves. And they couldn't handle John Akindi or Verdane Oliver. But like I say, defensively, we were really good. We dealt with most things. Jamie Cummins' saves were all straightforward, pretty much at him. They hit the post early on. Good chance for Callum Patterson. Cheeky little flick that come back off the base of the post. But aside from that, I thought we dealt with everything really well. And we was a threat. Danny Lloyd threatened to get in inside 2 minutes. Dug a cross out. Then there was a really good chance, wasn't there? Lloyd, again, got into space because their wing-backs were pushing on high up the pitch. Stood a ball up to the far post, and Verdane Oliver was stretching every sinew to get there. Directed it back across goal, but unfortunately it just went behind Carl Dempsey. If not, he'd have had a tap in from 3 or 4 yards. But Stuart O'Keefe's drive just wide of the post. And then we scored a good goal, didn't we? There'd been a couple of free kicks that Bailey Akehurst had taken. And it was third time lucky, I think. Really good ball into a dangerous area flat. John Akindi does absolutely superb. Gets himself in front of the centre-back. It's a little flick round the corner. And suddenly, Verdane Oliver right in front of us in the top tier of that stand behind the goal is one-on-one with the keeper. Keeps his head, side foots it into the bottom corner. Delirium in amongst the away support. Brilliant goal. Deservedly leader, I think. They can have all the possession they want, but they can pass it sideways. They can have it in the middle third. That's not going to hurt us. And when they was trying to come into our box, we were dealing with everything. So we led 1-0 at the break, and I think we was full value for it. Second period, we always knew that the Owls were going to come flying out of the traps and put us under pressure. Me and Boz spoke at half-time and during the interval on and off of air on the Matchday Live, and we both agreed that the 15-20 minutes straight after that whistle were going to be really key. If we could keep the crowd quiet, then we'd give ourselves a great chance of getting something out of the game, potentially 3 points. We were doing it really well, weren't we? Sheff Wednesday again had loads of the ball. Knew that was going to happen. They've got better players than us. There's no point pretending otherwise. They can call on Barry Bannon, Scotland international, who's very good. We always used to talk about Jordan Graham being a bit of a cheat code at this level. Barry Bannon is essentially one of them as well. Superb ability on the ball, always finds pocket of space, always finds himself, makes himself to be available, keeps things ticking over. But what we did, we kept him away from our goal. We kept him playing in the middle third, and he had to keep dropping to the halfway line or inside his own half to gain possession. And I thought we was handling him really well. Again, there's a couple of chances. There was balls coming into our box. Theo Corbiano, I think it was the right wing back, who was very impressive for me. Again, started to isolate Bailey Akehurst a little bit, but we were dealing with everything coming into our 6-yard box, coming into our 18-yard box. The shots were comfortable for Jamie Cummins. He fell on a couple. He was never extended and he looked fairly comfortable. Unfortunately, we lost for Dane Oliver, didn't we? After about 10 minutes of the second period starting, he'd gone down in the first half, looked like he'd felt his ankle. He then got another whack on it from Shea Dunkley, who I think was aware that there was a problem and he couldn't shake it off. So we brought on young Gerald Sitole, but what we lost was a little bit of that ability to hold it up. John Akindi was starting to blow a little bit. Sitole obviously is a completely different striker, wants to play on the shoulder, running behind. He's never going to play with his back to goal like Dane Oliver does. He's not going to win as many flick-ons against the likes of Shea Dunkley. So yeah, that caused us a problem. But we were still well in the game, not on top, but still defending well, still pressing when we had to. And the first time that Jamie Cumming really gets extended is when we'd made a change. I think we'd taken Bailey Akehurst off because he was just starting to struggle a little bit and cramp up, which is understandable, first league appearance. We switched Ryan Jackson to left back, didn't we? Put Stuart O'Keefe at right back, so we were makeshift again. And there was just a little bit of a pinball, and unfortunately Stuart O'Keefe got out-muscled. The ball made its way back to Bannon. He gets it out of his feet for the first time in a dangerous area. Left-footed drive, Cumming flies to his left and beats it away, but unfortunately it falls right at the feet of Florian Canberry, and he's got to tap him from 5-6 yards, and essentially we couldn't get out quick enough because such was the quickness of it all happening. And that was 1-1, and then you had to fear for us a little bit. It was becoming Alamo-like. We said that in the match day live. All the game was being played in our half. Wednesday were well on top, the crowd were up, and it was noisy, really, really noisy, proper atmosphere, 21,000 nearly in the ground. Great to be a part of, but obviously if you're hanging on, you want that final whistle to come and them to shut up. And then we lost Carl Dempsey, didn't we? He had to go off, he took a whack, tried to run it off, lasted another 5 minutes. So we had to bring on Ben Reeves, I think it was. Akehurst had been replaced by Daniel Adseed, who I thought was very good when he came on. So yeah, Ben Reeves replaced the captain. And yeah, for 5-10 minutes up to about the 80th minute or 85th minute, it looked like there was only going to be one winner, and that was going to be Sheffield Wednesday. They constantly were getting into our third. But we were standing up. We had people going down. Again, we was accused of time wasting. Danny Lloyd took a whack on the head. Clearly happened in front of us. Sheffield Wednesday fans were shouting and booing. It was a head injury. Referee didn't stop it. Then in the same phase of play, Jack Tucker takes one in the Little Jacks, we'll call it, for those that know what I'm talking about. He went down, clearly in pain, because it got him. It was bullseye. So that was another problem. Fans were up again. But then in the final 5 minutes, we got the ball in their half, didn't we? We had a couple of corners late on, but it wasn't to be. I don't think we did enough to deserve to win the game, second period. I'm not going to sit here and pretend. But I think we was well worth our lead, in the first half. So for me, draw was a fair result. Like I said, they had more ball, they had more shots, but they weren't clinical enough with it. I think they had 22 in total. There was only about 8 on target. So, you know, that's a third. I think we had 9 shots, 4 on target or something like that. So in terms of ratios, ours was a little bit better, but they've had more. So for me, draw a fair result. In terms of an outstanding owl on the day, where I look back at the best opposition player, this player I've already mentioned, and it's not Barry Bannon. You might be surprised. He was very good. Like I say, he kept him ticking over, but he was having to play the games in areas that didn't hurt us that much. For me, the most dangerous player on show was Theo Corbianu, the right wing back. I think he made his debut against Sunderland last week. I'm sure that's what John said if you watched my match preview with John Fittle. He was very good. He was a problem for Bailey Akehurst all afternoon. But Bailey, fair play to him, stood up to it. Never once shirked his responsibility. Never once shirked a challenge. Was willing to put his foot in. Was willing to try and be brave when he had the ball. We said before the game that he'd have to, sometimes just clip it in behind Sheffield Wednesday and not be too cute with it. But Corbiano caused him a problem, and let's not pretend otherwise. 77 touches in the game. 81% pass completion, 4 accurate crosses, 4 key passes, created 1 big chance. I think that was the one for Callum Patterson to start the second half, where if he hits the target, it goes in, but he manages to miss from about 12 yards. And 3 shots on target as well. So Corbiano was a threat all afternoon. He's got 2 good feet. He could go on the outside, go on the inside. And as much as we dealt with him pretty well, he was the player that looked like would make something happen. So it was quite ironic in the end that the goal came from the other side of the pitch to where he was operating. But for me, outstanding owl on the afternoon, Theo Corbianu. In terms of the Gills player ratings, it was a very solid performance. There was no one out there that you couldn't say had put in a real shift, that had put their body on the line to try and get something out of the game. We were depleted by the end again, weren't we? With Oliver and Dempsey going off. But it was a solid performance all round. There was plenty of 7, so I'm going to go through it individually. Jamie Cumming, 7. Made plenty of saves. Lots of them were routine. He's a bit unlucky with a go. He makes a good stop, but he's got no chance with the rebound. So 7 for Jamie Cumming. Back 4, we've given 7s to all of them. Thought they were all really good. Ryan Jackson looked like he was playing within himself a little bit first half, maybe just testing out that dead leg, but he got better as the game come on. And provided an outlet again, didn't he, to get us further up the pitch with his pace. Long throws were a real threat, we know, but we won't take too long to talk about them because Sheffield Wednesday fans might get upset. So yeah, 7s for him, 7s for Max Amer and Jack Tucker, who stood up to everything that was thrown into our box, and Bailey Akehurst on his debut. Thought he did very little wrong. Yes, he's got beaten a couple of times and let balls into our box, but he was up against a very tricky wing-back and he was isolated a couple of times because we played narrow. So 7 for Bailey on debut. In terms of that diamond, Stuart O'Keefe, 7. Danny Lloyd, 7. Carl Dempsey, one of them days where not a lot came off, unfortunately, for me, so we gave him 6.5. He did come off early as well. Best of the midfield quartet for me, though. And very surprising that he got through 90 minutes. I thought he was very good after he'd been booked, and that was Daniel Phillips, 7.5. Front 2 for Dane Oliver, 7.5 with the goal. Worked his nuts off again, didn't he, until he had to succumb to injury. John Akindi, a weird performance from John. Thought he was absolutely superb first period, almost unplayable. We kept saying, when he's in the mood, he's one of the best players in this division at what he does, and he is unplayable. But then there's times when he just doesn't look interested, and he was probably a 7 first half and then a 6 second half because he went missing a little bit. Just when you wanted him to take over the mantle of a Dane Oliver, he didn't quite do enough. Maybe he was blowing again. So we gave him a 6.5. And in terms of the substitutes, we gave Daniel Adseed 6.5, and then Ben Reeves and Gerald Sotole 6 each. Didn't do anything wrong, but just didn't see enough of the ball. And obviously that was a period when we weren't having a lot of possession. We don't have a lot of possession in general, we know that, but we was having even less than normal because Sheffield Wednesday were coming on strong. But no one had a bad game, and I thought Steve Evans and Paul Rayner done really well with their substitutions. I know they were forced a couple of times, but was brave making a couple of changes, and ultimately it's a really good point on the road, isn't it? In terms of Gills man of the match, I might have already given it away. It was one of the midfielders, and it was a player that I didn't even think would be in the starting 11. I thought he was out till Christmas. So to get through 90 minutes and play probably 70 with a caution as well, against a very good Sheffield Wednesday team that were on top, pinging it about nicely in the middle third of the pitch, and obviously trying to find a winner in the second half. My man of the match was Daniel Phillips. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Like I say, 90 minutes completed. Hadn't played for 2 months. I think his last game was Colchester in the Pizza Cup, start of September. So a really good shift from him. 70% pass completion, 6 clearances, 3 interceptions, played 1 key pass, and won 50% of all his duels. So a really solid display from the returning Phillips. And for me, I know it's a big call after 1 game back, but I think he's probably ahead of Daniel Adseed at the moment. They both are decent enough with the ball, but I think Phillips offers more physicality and more of a naughty side and a willingness to do the dirty side of the game when we're out of possession. So for me, Gills man of the match was Daniel Phillips. Right, that is it. We are coming to the end of our Monday review. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed talking about it and reliving it. Like I say, we're not the most popular club amongst Sheffield Wednesday Twitter at the moment. Such is life. The referee gave you 6 minutes at the end of the second half. You couldn't find a winner. Not our problem. If the referee thought you were time wasting, he could have booked our players. He didn't. So stop whinging. Anyway, I shall be back later in the week for a match preview ahead of the big relegation game at Crewe Alexandra on Saturday. But before then, we do have an FA Cup replay. We've got to go to Cheltenham on Tuesday evening, patched up, dusting ourselves off. No Carl Dempsey, no Dane Oliver, no Daniel Phillips. Steve Evans has already confirmed Phillips will be protected after playing 90 minutes at the weekend after 2 months out. So no idea what the team will be. Would imagine all those that started on the bench on Saturday will come into the 11. So it'll be giving opportunities to Harvey Lintop, Aaron Chapman, Ben Reeves, Gerald Sotole and Daniel Adseed from the start. I would have thought, obviously a few that started at the weekend are going to have to start again because we don't have enough numbers at the moment. We've got so many still out. If you are going, sing loud, sing proud, and hopefully you can see us through to a second round tie against Wimbledon in a couple of weeks' time. Right, as I say, that is enough from me. Don't forget, if you are looking to lose weight and want to play football with like-minded individuals, go and check out Man v Fat Football. Use the code Gills in the Blood and you will get your subscription for just £1. Right, see you soon. I hope your Monday's not been too stressful. But until next time, up the Gills.